10th Standard Algebra, Chapter 4, Financial Planning, Module 3. In this module, we'll study about shares. First, let us understand what are shares. Suppose if you have a company and you want to start a business. Now, the first and the foremost thing that you need to start a business is capital. And by capital, we mean money, a certain initial investment. Now, the question is, how will you collect the money? Usually, it is difficult to collect a huge sum of money by taking loans because you'll have a huge amount of interest on it. So for this, there is a solution. What you could do is, you can establish your business and company, and you can divide your company into small parts, or these small parts, we can call these small parts, we break our company into small ownerships, into small parts, and each of these parts will be called as the ownership of your business or your company. Each of these small parts will be called, or they are called as shares. In order to collect money, you sell these shares of your company to the general public. Once all of your shares are sold, it will be possible for you to collect the capital required to establish your business and your company. So these small parts are called as shares. In simple words, these small parts are ownerships of your company. So you are basically selling ownership of your company to different people in order to collect money, or in order to collect capital. So suppose you started your business and you want to collect the capital of rupees 1 lakh. What you could do is, you can divide the ownership of your company into 10 parts. So I can call it as 10 shares, and sell each of these shares for rupees 10,000. So if you sell each of the shares for rupees 10,000 and you have 10 shares, so 10 into 10,000 will give you rupees 1 lakh. So this is one possible way of doing the division. So you can divide your business, or you can divide your company, the ownership of your company, into 10 shares, and you can sell each of the shares for rupees 10,000, and that's how you will collect a capital of rupees 1 lakh. There are many other ways also, or you can divide it into 100 shares and sell each of the shares for rupees 1,000. Similarly, you can divide into as many smaller parts and decrease the price of each share. So a share is the smallest unit of a capital. So in this division, one share was rupees 10,000. So it is the smallest unit of a capital. Shareholder, a person who owns a share. So suppose if I purchased one share of this particular company, I will be called as the shareholder. So a person who owns the share is called a shareholder. The shareholder is a part owner of the company in the proportion of number of shares he or she holds. So if any person who has purchased the share of this company, he will be called as a shareholder, or he will be a part owner of the company depending on the number of shares he or she purchases. Next, let us see what is stock exchange. So stock exchange is a place where buying and selling of shares takes place. So this is also called as the stock market. You must have heard about it. So where buying and selling of shares takes place, it is called as stock market. Now usually this happens online. It is also known as share market or stock market. There are other two names. It is also called as equity market or capital market. Companies should be listed in the stock market for trading. So whichever company wants to sell their shares, they have to be listed in the stock market for trading. Next is the face value. So the value which is printed on the share certificate is called as a face value of the share. It is also known as nominal value or printed value, or also it is called as par value. Note one thing, the price of the share that the company decides, that is called as a face value. Next is the market value. So the price at which the shares are sold or purchased in the stock market, that is called as the market value of the price. Now, depending how well the company is performing, the market value or the price of each share may increase or decrease. So we know one thing, that the price of the share that the company decides, that is called as the face value. Now, depending on how the company is performing, is it making profit, is it making loss? Depending on that, in the stock market, the price of the share may change, and that price is known as the market value. Now, the next main concept that we need to know is dividend. Dividend is also known as profit. Now, why would any person would want to invest in shares? The answer to the question, and that is dividend or profit. So the part of annual profit. So suppose if you have purchased shares of any particular company, and if that company is making good profit, then the part of that profit, so in this case it is written part of annual profit or yearly, how much profit that company makes, that is distributed per share among the shareholders, and that profit is called as a dividend. So suppose if any particular company, I purchased shares of that company, and that company is making a lot of profit. So suppose if I purchase 10 shares of that particular company which is making profit, at the end of the year or at the end of the financial year, the company will distribute its profit equally depending on the number of shares you purchase. So if I have purchased 10 shares, accordingly, a certain ratio the company will decide and distribute the shares among all of its shareholders. If the company is performing well, then the value of the share capital increases. Hence, the price of the share goes up. So if the company is performing really good, so the value of share capital also increases and the price of the share also increases. As a result, the company gets good dividend. For the shareholders, the dividend income is tax-free. So if you see, note one thing, the dividend income is completely tax-free. And that is why it's very beneficial if you cautiously and meticulously invest in shares. Dividend is always received on the face value. This is a very important point. The market value of that share, depending on how the company is performing, may increase or decrease, but the dividend, or that is a profit, that you will always get on the face value of that share and not on the market value. So if the face value is less and the market value is more, so that doesn't make any difference. Your profit you will get will be as per the face value of that share. Let us see comparison of face value and market value. If market value is greater than the face value, then the share is at premium. We say that the share is at premium, or the price of share is at premium. If the market value is same as the face value, then the share we say it is at par. If market value is less than the face value, then the share is available at discount. So this is practice set 4.3, question 1. We'll have to complete the following table depending on what we have studied, at premium, at par, or at discount. Accordingly, we'll have to solve. So if you see the first one, when share is at par. So if you see here, share is at par, and we know when share is at par, market value and face value is the same. So the first table, market value will be rupees 100 as the face value is also 100. Second, if you see, the share is at premium. So when the share is at premium, the share is said to be at premium when market value is greater than the face value. So if we want to find out the face value, we'll have to take the difference between market value minus premium. So if you see here, premium rupees 500. So market value rupees 575 mentioned in the question minus 500, that is a premium. So that is rupees 75. The face value of the share is rupees 75, and in the market the price of the share increased by rupees 500. That is why you see market value rupees 575. If you see in the third case, face value is given rupees 10 and market value is given rupees 5. So here the market value is less than the face value. So at this case, when market value is less than the face value, the share is said to be given at discount. And by how much rupees discount? You just take the difference. 10 minus 5, that is 5. So the discount is of rupees 5. If you see, the table is completed here. This is rupees 100, here 75, and here discount of rupees 5. Let us understand the next concept, and that is sum invested. Total amount that is required to purchase the shares, that amount is called as the sum invested. So sum invested will be equal to the number of shares that you purchased multiplied by the market value of that share. So let us see an example. If 50 shares of face value rupees 100 each are purchased for market value of rupees 120, we have to find the sum invested, or how much money is invested. So we'll use the formula sum invested is equal to number of shares into market value. So 50 shares are purchased and the market value was rupees 120. So 50 into 120 is rupees 6,000. So 6,000 was invested. If you see the second one, if you want to purchase 50 shares of market value rupees 50 each, what is the total amount to be paid? So same formula we'll use. Sum invested is equal to number of shares into market value, which will be equal to 50 shares into 50 was the market value. So 50 into 50, that is rupees 2,500. So the sum invested in purchasing 50 shares of market value rupees 50 is 2,500. Let us see practice set 4.3. This is the third sum. Joseph purchased following shares. Find his total investment. So we have to find his total investment. So if you see in company A, he purchased 200 shares. Face value was rupees 2 and it was at premium at rupees 80. So we'll understand the first case. So face value is given and premium of rupees 18 is given. So that means the market value will be face value plus the premium. So 2 plus 18 and market value will be rupees 20. If you see the second one, he buys 45 shares for market value of rupees 500. And for company C, he buys one share of market value 10,540. So market value of each share of a company A will be face value. So we'll solve for A first. In A, how much money he invested. So that will be rupees 2 plus rupees 20 plus rupees 18, and that is rupees 20. So market value of each share of company A is rupees 20. So investment in company A, number of shares of company A multiplied by market value. So if you see 200 shares of company A into rupees 20. So 20 was the market value. So 200 into 20, and that is 4,000 rupees. Similarly, if you see investment in company B, number of shares of company B multiplied by market value of each share of company B. So in company B, he purchases 45 shares and market value of each share was 500. So total investment will be 45 into 500, and that is 22,500 rupees. Similarly, we'll find his investment in company C, that is number of shares of company C multiplied by market value of each share of company C. So we know in company C he purchased just one share and market value of that share was 10,540. If you multiply 1 into 10,540, you will get rupees 10,540 itself. Now we have to find his total investment in all of the three companies. So total investment will be investment in company A plus investment in company B plus investment in company C. So that will be rupees 4,000 plus rupees 22,500 plus rupees 10,540. So if you total it up, you get rupees 37,040 rupees. So Joseph invested in total rupees 37,040 in purchasing shares of company A, B and C. Now let us understand the rate of return. What is rate of return? When we invest in shares, it is very important to know the return on our investment or how much profit we make on our particular investment. So there is a formula to find out the rate of return, and the formula is dividend income divided by sum invested into rupees 100. So rate of return we can just imagine it to be as, or we can assume rate of return to be is how much percentage of return we get in sums of depending on our investment. So we'll use this formula to find out the rate of return. We'll start with the sum, practice set 4.3. This is the second sum. Mr. Amol purchased 50 shares of face value rupees 100 when the market value of the share was rupees 80. Company had given 20% dividend. We have to find the rate of return on investment. So let us understand this question first. So Mr. Amol, he purchased 50 shares and the face value of the share was 100, but the market value of the share was rupees 80. So let us understand what is face value. We know face value. Face value is the price of the share decided by the company, and market value is the price of the share in the market. So he purchased it for rupees 80. So when the price went down. So at that time, the company decided at the end of the financial year, the company gave 20% dividend or 20% profit. 20% of its profit depending on the number of shares he purchased. We have to find the rate of return on investment. The face value rupees 100 given in the question. Market value rupees 80 also given in the question. Number of shares is 50 given in the question. Sum invested will be number of shares purchased into market value of each share. We have to find total how much sum is invested. So 50 shares he purchased and market value was 80. So 50 into 80 is rupees 4,000. So Mr. Amol invested in total of rupees 4,000. So the dividend received on each share will be, so as we know, one very important point, dividend is always calculated on the face value. So dividend on each share will be 20% of the face value of each share. So face value of each share was 100. So 20% of 100 will be 20 upon 100 into 100, which is rupees 20. So on each share, Mr. Amol got rupees 20. So on 50 shares, how much rupees will he get? We'll find out that. So total dividend received will be number of shares purchased into dividend received on each share. So 50 shares he had, and on each share he got 20 rupees. So 50 into 20 will be rupees 1,000. So the total dividend in rupees is 1000. Now we are not yet finished with the sum. We need to find the rate of return. So rate of return formula is equal to total dividend received divided by sum invested into 100. So total dividend received we just found out, that is 1000 upon sum invested. We also found out that is 4000. So 1000 upon 4000 into 100, and that will be 25%. So Mr. Amol got 25% rate of return on his investment. So he invested 4,000 rupees and he got 25% profit, that is 1,000 rupees profit. Thus, the rate of return on investment is 25%. Let us see, this is the fourth sum of exercise 4.3. Srimati Deshpande purchased shares of face value rupees 5 at a premium of rupees 20. How many shares will she get for rupees 20,000? So let us see, market value of each share in this case will be face value plus premium. So that is rupees 5 plus 20, and that is 25. Sum invested, as it is mentioned in the question, that is rupees 20,000. So number of shares will be sum invested upon market value. So this is the same formula. Sum invested formula was sum invested is equal to number of shares into market value. We just rearrange that formula to find out a number of shares. So number of shares will be sum invested upon market value. Sum invested is 20,000, market value is 25. 20,000 divided by 25 is 800. Thus, the number of shares purchased by Srimati Deshpande are 100. So she purchases 100 shares